Back in the book segment tonight, in this Holy Week that includes Good Friday and Passover, we have a story about the Shroud of Turin. Many believe the linen cloth bearing the image of a man with a beard, long hair, and wounds of a crucifixion is the shroud in which Jesus was buried after his execution. Skeptics, however, think the relic, which is kept in a cathedral in Italy, is a forgery. Vatican researchers now say at least one mystery surrounding the shroud has been solved. New evidence suggests the Knights of Templar secretly hid the cloth for more than 100 years after the Crusades. With us now, Fox News contributor Father Jonathan Morris, Catholic priest and author of the book, The Promise, God's Purpose and Plan for When Life Hurts. Do you believe the shroud is Jesus?
I do.
Why?
That's a personal opinion.
Oh, of course.
You know, and the church has been very clear.
You're an intellectual man. You're not a superstitious man. So tell me why you believe it.
Right. Well, just to start, the church has been very clear that it will never make a stance. This is or this is not.
Yeah. Vatican didn't say one way or the other.
Right. Because it's science should make that decision. It's not an element of faith. Why do I believe it is? Well, I've done the research on it. I've studied it. I've looked to see right from the very first centuries of the church, people were already talking about this linen cloth. It went all the way up through the Middle Ages, and there was a break, and then right back up into where the cloth is now, which has been in Turin for over 400 years. Was there any historical report, not gospel, historical report of the shroud? Lots of them. Lots of them. Right from the first centuries, there was a Saint Nino who converted Georgia through a wonderful story of how he came and he saw he saw this linen cloth, and he said, you know, this is worthy of veneration.
Where did that report appear?
It started off that the cloth was in Edessa, right, in Turkey, present-day Turkey.
Right.
And then it went up and it was moved to Constantinople.
No, I know that, but where did the reports of it surface?
There's been reports throughout. There's been hundreds of reports. This is probably the most studied historical document or relic that there is.
Okay. I'm going to get to the Knights of Templar in a moment. It's like a thriller. But one more question on the shroud. Carbon dating puts it in the 15th century, 14th century. You don't buy that carbon dating.
Right. They said carbon-14 dating they did in 1988. They did a research on it. At first it was a big shock. Oh my goodness, and it can't be true. But afterwards, there's been lots of studies that have shown that the one piece of material they took from the shroud is different than the rest of the shroud. Why? Because they took from the very top part of it, and it was a rewoven piece of material. I mean,
it could have been repaired over the years, and there was a fire in the church that the shroud was in. I saw it in the early 90s, in Torino, Italy. I saw it. And I talked to a lot of people about it, and I said, well, could it be a drawing? No. There's no connection to any kind of an art like you would have with higher
scientists have said one thing is for sure. This was in 1978. This is an international team of scientists that have said this was not a painting.
Right. It's not a painting. This was not like hieroglyphics or a cave-dwelling thing where you can say, look, somebody did that.
Right.
They don't know how the image got on the shroud.
Exactly. And that's peer-reviewed scientific journals have said, hey, we don't know what this thing is.
Right.
And when you look at it, you see it's a picture of Jesus.
Right.
You say, for all of us, it can be saying, hey, you know, this is not a gotcha type religiosity that we say, oh, now it's all true.
It could be Jesus or it could be Lenny.
But when you look at it, you say,
a lot of guys looked like that back then.
But when you look at it and you say, this looks like the gospel, this mirrors the gospel.
I would love it to
that
be
inspires.
Jesus. If it were Jesus, then you'd have a lot more converts, because a lot of people don't believe until they see something. Now, the new stuff this week is interesting because the Knights of Templar were a group that escorted people on pilgrimages to the Middle East to protect them against Muslims, interestingly enough.
Right.
And then they fell on hard times and they were discredited and there were all kinds of stuff. But they allegedly hid the shroud for 100 years, took it from Constantinople back to Europe. They hid it, and then in 1357 it surfaced in France. That's the new thing that has come out.
Right. The new thing is that the historian of the secret archives of the Vatican has now said we found this document that was just badly registered in the archives, and we now see that the 150-year period that was kind of missing in the whole trajectory.
Now we know what happened to it.
Know that it was
timeline.
There's a consistent timeline that leads to present-day Turin, Italy.
All right. So you, Father Morris, believe it is Jesus.
Right, but my faith does not depend on it.
All right, there it is. Happy Easter, Father.
Thank you. You too, Bill.
Pinheads and Patriots is